Hello, you're watching Inside the Americas with me, Laura Sellier. Coming up in the programme, the Republican field grows ever more crowded as Hillary Clinton confirms she's running for the top job. We'll have the latest on the US presidential race. Plus, also in the US, another black citizen dead at the hands of a white police officer. We'll bring you the disturbing story of Eric Harris. And pageants, parades and reenactments. We look at how Americans are marking 150 years since the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. First, it was the worst kept secret in politics, but this week it became official. Hillary Rodham Clinton is running for president in 2016. Denied the crown by young Senator Barack Obama in 2008, this time around, Clinton will be looking to woo the women voters who could make all the difference. So will she win them over? Let's take a look at her strategy.
She's been First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State. It's no surprise Hillary Clinton has announced her candidacy for the 2016 presidential election.
I'm running for president.
Since 2008, when she lost to Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton has changed her strategy. Out with the image of the power woman who seems cut off from everyday voters, issues pertaining to the struggling middle class and especially women's rights, a topic Clinton advocated for when she was First Lady.
If you just shut your eyes and imagine the rights that men have are the rights women have as well.
To get closer to her female voters, she's going public about her family life with her husband by her side. And on Twitter, she launched the hashtag Grandmothers Know Best. Best. Some voters say they're sold.
Fabulous. She's already got my vote.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's about time. Well, you want something done right, you have a woman do it.
The women's vote could catapult her to the top. Since U.S. women got the vote in 1920, they've become the majority. Women represent 53% of the U.S. electorate, vote in greater numbers than men, and more often. Starting with her husband Bill Clinton's election in 1992, women have consistently voted Democrat. Committees were formed to encourage Hillary Clinton to run. They're led by women who hope that if she wins, women's issues will be put center stage.
Means that women aren't on the side, women are at the table, women's issues are at the table. When she was Secretary of State, she put women's issues at the table. This also means that the glass ceiling is shattered here in the United States. Finally.
In the past, 36 women have run in U.S. presidential elections. None of them belong to the Democratic or Republican Party. This time, according to the most recent poll, 71% of Americans say gender will play no role in their vote for president. If Hillary Clinton has a number of hurdles to overcome before winning in 2016, the fact that she's a woman need not be one of them.
So Republicans then gearing up for what is likely to be a battle with Clinton. But before they can go head-to-head with the potential Democratic nominee, they'll have to make it through what's shaping up to be a crowded and difficult Republican field. Ketaban Gorjestani has the detail.
Likely Republican presidential hopefuls turned this year's NRA annual convention into an early GOP rally. As they took the stage in front of the gun lobby, their main target was their likely future opponent, Hillary Clinton.
It's the liberal, progressive worldview of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Eric Holder and all the other people who want to take the guns out of the hands of the good guys and the hands of the law-abiding citizens.
The former Florida governor, who has yet to formally announce his bid, took another swing at Clinton in a video released this Sunday. As the son and brother of former U.S. presidents, Bush will be able to count on his name as well as on big donors. But he'll have to face another Floridian, Marco Rubio. The young Cuban-American was elected in 2010 as a Tea Party favorite. His stance on immigration has angered many conservatives. That could cost him votes against Texas Senator Ted Cruz, another Cuban-American who is fiercely anti-immigration. He was the first to officially launch his campaign. The only other declared candidate is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a libertarian who has rarely voted in line with his party on issues like drugs, immigration, as well as foreign aid and military involvement. A recent ad by the Republican National Committee made clear their candidates had a common enemy.
Hillary Clinton has some explaining to do.
Used her personal email account to conduct official business.
Taking millions of dollars from foreign governments.
An ad that shows that despite their differences, Republicans have just one goal.
Well, the next American president, whoever he or she may be, will have to deal with rising concern about police brutality. Another black citizen dead at the hands of a white police officer this week, this time in Oklahoma, where a deputy sheriff shot dead a suspect, having mistaken his handgun for a taser. He's since been charged with manslaughter. Aurore Dupuy has the story.
What's up, brother? What's up? Make me nervous, man.
An undercover operation gone wrong. Eric Harris was suspected of selling illegal guns. He was secretly filmed by police.
That's it. Sweet, that's a nice gun, man.
But Harris soon realized he was about to get arrested.
What the fuck is it?
Harris was chased in the street and held down. An officer warned he was going to use a taser, but mistook it for his firearm. The shooter was identified as Robert Gates, a 73-year-old white reserve deputy. For the Tulsa police, it was an accident.
Reserve Deputy Bates did not commit a crime. Reserve Deputy Bates was a victim, a true victim, of slips and capture.
Slips and capture means someone reacts differently in times of extreme pressure. Robert Gates did apologize straight after opening fire, but when Harris said he was losing his breath, another officer replied. Harris was treated by medics at the scene, but he died an hour later in hospital. This is one of the latest in a string of killings where policemen are accused of using force against African Americans. Last week, a white patrolman was charged with murder after he shot Walter Scott in the back in South Carolina. And last year in Ferguson, the death of Michael Brown sparked riots across the nation.
Well, a judge in Washington handed lengthy jail terms to several former employees of the American security firm Blackwater this week. They were found guilty of firing indiscriminately at civilians in Baghdad 8 years ago. At least 14 people were killed in scenes one witness described as being like hell. The incident in the city's Nisour Square strained relations between the US and Iraq and caused international outrage over the use of private security guards in a war zone. Well, Abraham Lincoln was the first American president to be killed while in office on April 14th, 1865 at Ford's Theatre, Washington. Actor and Confederate sympathiser John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in the head. It was just days after the end of the Civil War. Americans up and down the country have been marking the anniversary of Lincoln's death with pageants, parades and a reenactment of that fateful night.
Finding unique ways to honour his legacy. Dozens of people gathered in front of the Lincoln Memorial to contemplate his imposing statue. Adults and children alike pondered on what he'd make of modern America.
I think he would be proud, just how far we've come. You know, between Dr. King and between all the other civil rights activists, I think he would be very proud that we have come this far and now our president of the United States.
I think he was an amazing president. I thought it was amazing how he ended the slavery and fought through the Civil War.
Impersonators of the 16th President of the United States were in high demand for this special event. A common trick reciting his most famous speech, the Gettysburg Address, which is considered as a turning point in the American Civil War.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation.
Several museums throughout Washington, D.C. also reflected on the day Lincoln was killed, with special exhibits and rare artifacts. Like these broken glasses fastened with a string he had in his pocket on the night he died.
There's something so human and down to earth about that. And I think we think of Lincoln that way, but that's just sort of proof positive of how humble he remained even through his presidency.
Abraham Lincoln's well-worn story still fascinates people from around the world. He was assassinated on April 14, 1865, shot in the head by John Wilkes Booth as he watched a performance at Ford's Theatre with his wife Mary. At the time, Lincoln was engaged in the reunification of the United States in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War that claimed more than 700,000 lives. Through it all, Lincoln bent but never broke. and went so far as to propose black suffrage.
The triggering mechanism for Booth was Lincoln publicly declaring in his final speech on April 11th of the need to consider limited black suffrage. The idea of giving the vote to the freedmen was about as controversial an issue as you could have after the Civil War.
Today, Abraham Lincoln is widely recognized as one of America's greatest presidents.
Government of the people, by the people, for the people.
150 years after his death, his legacy endures, and so does his nation.
Shall not perish from the earth.
And we end with a fond farewell for a soul legend. The singer Percy Sledge died this week at the age of 74. He was best known as being behind that husky, agonised voice on one of the world's best-known love songs, When a Man Loves a Woman. The song was recorded for Atlantic Records back in 1966. It was his first single and is considered one of the greatest soul songs of all time. Sledge said the inspiration was a woman leaving him for someone else. We'll leave you with this.